Sensing that she needed space, he decided to walk away. Back in his office, Woobin received a phone call from Sunjin, who asked how Minsu was doing. Woobin told him that she was heartbroken and had been crying in the bathroom. Frustrated, he asked Sunjin why he was being a coward and letting the woman he claimed to love suffer like this. Sunjin, irritated, told him it was none of his business and that he should take care of Minsu as they had agreed. Woobin, unimpressed, told him that Minsu was a kind, free-spirited woman and that Sunjin would be a fool to let her go because of his greedy father. With that, he hung up the call. Later that evening, as it was time to clock out, Minsu was heading home when Woobin stopped her and asked what she was doing after work. Minsu told him she was going back to school, but Woobin invited her over for a small celebration to mark her first day at work. Minsu initially tried to decline, but Woobin insisted, saying it would make her feel better. Reluctantly, she agreed. When they arrived at Woobin's place, she assumed there would be other people as well. However, the moment she walked in, she froze in panic when she saw Sunjin sitting in the living room. He was the last person she had wanted to come across. Sunjin and Minsu both saw each other and sat there awkwardly, not knowing what to say. Confused by the situation, Sunjin asked to talk to Woobin outside and questioned why he had brought Minsu there when he thought it was just going to be the two of them having a couple of drinks. Woobin told him that he was tired of him always bending to his father's will and letting him control his life, and now that he had someone special, he was still allowing his father to dictate things for him. He continued, saying that Sunjin's father was also the reason why they were no longer close as friends, as he believed Woobin was a bad influence. Sunjin told him that he and Minsu had broken up and doubted that she would want to talk to him. Woobin, however, told him not to jump to conclusions and that he should ask Minsu himself. He explained that bringing Minsu and him back together was the least he could do as a friend and that he could see how miserable Sunjin was. It was time for him to be a man and stand up to his father. Sunjin, frustrated, told him that if his father found out about this, he would have Minsu kicked out of school, and staying away from her was his way of protecting her. Woobin shook his head and told him he wasn't protecting her. He was hurting her. He placed a hand on Sunjin's shoulder and told him that this was all he could do as a friend, and whatever happened from here on was up to him. With that, Woobin walked back into the house, leaving Sunjin standing there. Inside, Minsu immediately asked Woobin what was going on, why Sunjin was there, and how they knew each other. Woobin simply told her to ask Sunjin because he had the answers. As he walked toward the door, Minsu followed, saying she wanted to leave as well. Woobin told her that he was going to get his other friends and would be back, telling her to sit down and relax. Before she could say anything, he walked out. Minsu stood there, unsure of what to do, and decided to go home. She tried to open the door but realized it was locked. Panicking, she struggled with the door and started calling for Woobin. Sunjin, noticing her distress, walked over and tried to open it as well. He looked at her and told her it was locked. Minsu, now anxious, asked if he knew where the keys were and told him to call Woobin. Sunjin took out his phone and called him, telling him that he had locked them inside by mistake. Woobin laughed and told him it wasn't a mistake, that he needed to man up and fix things with Minsu if he truly loved her. He added that he would be back in the morning and that they should enjoy his space and work things out. Jokingly, he suggested that maybe Sunjin should get Minsu pregnant to leave his father with no choice. Sunjin, irritated, told him to stop talking nonsense and hung up. Minsu looked at Sunjin and asked what Woobin had said. Sunjin sighed and told her that he wasn't coming back, then walked to the living room. Minsu followed him, demanding to know what was going on, how he knew Woobin, and why she had been brought there. Sunjin told her that Woobin was his childhood friend. Already suspecting the answer, Minsu asked if he was the one who got her the job. Sunjin hesitated, then nodded and said yes. Upset, Minsu walked out onto the balcony, needing a moment to process everything. Sunjin sat there watching her as she stood alone, deep in thought. Seeing her in front of him at that moment brought back so many emotions. He wondered if he should go to her, hold her, and tell her that he never wanted to end things between them. Feeling overwhelmed, he finally stood up from the couch and followed her onto the balcony.